back to another episode of Mimi's Musings podcast. I'm your host, Gungu Mildred, and I'm so happy that you've joined me on episode 29. Welcome, and thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who takes their sweet time to come and watch or listen to these videos. I'm so excited, so grateful, so amazed by your patience and your kindness, and those who don't comment on the video but comment on my WhatsApp, like text me on WhatsApp or whatever. Thank you, but I wish you could be commenting here as well, because I told you I need that traction. Okay, we need to get more people. We are stuck at 29 now, so please let us get more people. Soon I'll be celebrating 1 year, and after 1 year I think I'll still be under 50. So could you please help me to get at least to your 50? I'm at 2 more. And as I said previously, please, even if you're done watching, if you're not using your phone at the time, you could just go back to one that you watched, put it to just play until the end, like rewatch and rewatch, because I need to get the hours, okay? The watch hours. Just put it on and even mute it, as long as the first time you watch it and you listened. So the second time you can just play it and mute it and just let it play so that I can get the watch hours, okay? Tafadhalini. Okay, so on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about Father's Day, which I think is going to be tomorrow, I believe. So, as you all know by now, I do not have a father, or rather, the man who side me exists, but I do not know him. I've never met him, and I'm not interested in meeting him, whatsoever. I know where he lives. I know. This one is not going to be heavy like Mother's Day, by the way. I know where he lives. I know where I could find him if I wanted to. I know his name and his family's history, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the things that my grandma told me, at least. But I'm just not interested in knowing him. And I had a discussion with my grandma and my grandmother's sister, actually just last year, August last year, and you were talking about a child going to find their parent who they haven't met. It could be their mom or their dad who went away, who walked away when they were still young. And my grandmother's sister had some very strong opinions on that, and they were all like, no. Especially in my culture, there's some things that can interfere with that, because she was like, if you have lived with your mom and your mom got married to somebody else and you've never met your dad, and then you go start looking for that man who sired you while you're an adult, it makes it seem like you want him to be a part of your life, and you're pushing away the man who raised you. Now, when it comes to dowry payment, you're supposed to bring the dowry to the man who raised you because he has been your father. But then when you go and meet this other man and say that I want him to be my dad, I want him to be a part of my family, it means that during the dowry negotiations, this man who hasn't been a part of your life, your entire childhood, your entire life, he can come and say the dowry should come to me. And the Maragoli culture supports that. And I was like, na lie, I cannot. I wouldn't do that to my grandma. I wouldn't. Because she was very adamant about it. She was like, no. Don't go looking for somebody who left. Don't go looking for trouble. Looking for these people is looking for trouble. And we argued about it quite a bit. But then I don't know how we ended the things. I was like, yeah, maybe you can think that, but I can think whatever I want to think, because I'm all for when your child asks about their parent who is not present, you should allow them to go and see them. Even if you haven't spoken to them in a couple of years, but you as the parent who remained, you should always be aware of where that other parent is. So that when that day arrives, when your child will come to ask you, because there's a saying in my mother tongue, I don't know how to say it, but I can hear my grandmother's voice, but it simply means it translates to the blood wants its kin. Like a Masai Gena when or something like that. The blood will always look for its own kind, itatafuta tu. So when that happens, you should be able to tell that child, like, yeah, your mom is in this place. This is their phone number, the phone number that I knew her with last. Their names are this and this. Go and find them. Your dad is so and so. They lived at this and this place. Go and find them. You talk to them and see what happens. What happens instead is that the parent who remains, especially the moms, depending on what happened between the mom and the dad, she will try and make that child hate that parent who is not there, the father. And that is a very, very wrong thing. So this child will be taught to hate their dad because of that dad hurting the mom or something like that. Because I've had stories where a man was a terrible husband but a very good dad. Lingugi has said this. Like, their dad was very bad to the mom, terrible husband, but he was an amazing dad. So when something like that happens, you as the woman leave because you want peace. You don't want to end up staying with a man who you're not in love with, who's not in love with you, who beats you up, who does all these things and abuses you in all sorts of forms. But then do not try to create that hatred in your children. Like, live. If you have to live with the kids, live with them. Even if he never supports them or whatever, you go. You give birth to these children as well. Support your children, raise them in the best way you can. But when these children come and tell you, I need to know my dad, I need to get to go and see him, send them. Let them go. Wacha wakajione wenyewe. Let them reach there and let them see this man. And if he's bad, they will know. But when children ask to go and see their fathers, it's not like we want them now as, okay, it depends. Let me not say that. It depends. There's somebody who explained this very well on Lynn Googie's show. You know, like, she was like, there's a child who has grown up feeling like a part of them is missing. Because this absent parent is who maybe they connect most with. They look like them, their behaviors are like them. And this mom who stayed is always insulting that child. Wewe tabia kama za baba yako. Nini nini kama baba yako. Blah 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 kama baba yako. The people they meet, the aunties, blah blah, nini, friends of the mom, they're like, you know, you look like your dad. And this child has never met their dad. Or they met them when they were really young and they don't even remember how they used to look. So this person grows up feeling like there's a part of them that is missing. So when they grow up and now they can, you know, have the nerve to ask the parent, like, hey, can I meet my father? They do that. I feel like they should be allowed to go and do it so that they can go and see for themselves. If this man was a terrible dad, they will know. Because from the moment they meet them, I've heard men saying, like, I don't want you as my child. I already have another family and I don't need you to come and complicate my life right now. And I'm like, why? Because this child you had long before, you know, like, you were married. So why will they be complicating things for you? I've never understood that part. But, like, just say, okay, fine, and then let's see where it goes. Because I don't need you. Right now, not having been raised by my mother and not having ever met the man who sired me, there's no way I would want, like, them to be involved in my life, like, in a financial way. Like, as you wakuja waniambie eti, oh, I'm sick, I need your financial help. I will not do it. I need a kidney. I will not do it. I don't know if I'm getting married and they're like, you know, sijui rush your wedding, they need to speak. Listen, I remember telling my grandmother, the same time we were having this argument, this story with my grandma and my grandmother's sister. So when my grandmother's sister said that, you know, this man will come and he will want to be the one to receive the dowry and the community will agree with him, I was like, I wouldn't do that to my grandma. My grandma has educated me. My grandmother has fed me, clothed me. These are the things that dowry is supposed to be appreciating. When you bring dowry to a family, it's supposed to be appreciating that family for everything they did for this daughter, for this woman that you're taking as your wife. You're telling them thank you. And this family is giving because they are acquiring a daughter where the family is sort of losing that daughter. So najua anasemanga hapo ndo watu husema, so you're exchanging me for goats and cows. But it's mostly an appreciation, yeah? So, why should this person who never educated me, never fed me, never clothed me, never put a roof over my head, now be given the dowry that is supposed to be an appreciation for doing all of these things? But then my grandmother sister was like, yeah, exactly. But that's why you're not supposed to be going to look for them. Because the moment they are part of your life, they're supposed to get all of these things. I know nawachanganya, hii story nazungusha, but it's just that having a father in my life would have been a great thing, but not having him has made me have daddy issues, of course. But then I wouldn't go looking for him because he denied me, according to my grandmother, 2 times. So, this story that I was told by my grandmother, if you remember Mother's Day, the story that I put out for Mother's Day, I told you how I wrote a letter to the lady who gave birth to me asking if the man that she introduced to me as my dad is really my dad, because he wasn't doing ABCD for me, but he was doing it for my siblings. And when she came to talk to me, and I put talk in quotes, because that wasn't talking, she came to vent. So when she came to talk to me about the situation, she did not explain as I thought she would explain. She vented, she put all her frustration on me, and she said all of these things. And what I got from that conversation is that this man was not my dad. So I was like, okay. When we closed schools and I finally came to Nairobi, I asked my grandma. And now she told me this story. So according to her, when this lady got pregnant, my great grandma took her to that family, and she was like, this daughter of ours, my granddaughter, is pregnant and your son is responsible. That man's grandma said some very nasty words to the woman who gave birth to me. She compared her to a terrible thing. And there's a saying my grandmother says exactly how she said it. And basically, they insulted her dignity. And so my great grandma took her granddaughter, and they went back home. After that happened, she carried her pregnancy. After she gave birth, they took me back now to be given a name. In my culture, we have this thing they call like it's a DNA test, sort of, but it's a cultural one where our children usually get shaved by the paternal grandmother. And that's like a DNA test. And if you're not from that family, then that child might die. Actually, they die. If you lied that this child is from that family and they get shaved by that paternal grandma, if they're not from that family, that child dies. And you know, this happens when the child is very young. Maragolis will tell you stories. I think Luyas, I don't know if it's just like Maragolis or it's all Luyas, but they will tell you stories. So I was taken back to that family, and they were like, this is your child. Our child has given birth. Now here she is. You need to give her a name. And the great grandmother and the grandmother and the mother to this man, they said the same thing. They were like, we already told you. Blah, 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 blah. That child is not from this family. So we don't want her here. And they chased them away. So according to my grandmother, they went away. She promised to love me and take care of me until her final breath. And she promised that I will never lack anything as long as she's alive. And she named me after, I think, her aunt, like her mother's cousin, if I'm not mistaken. I think my second name comes from my grandmother's aunt, like her mother's sister or her mother's cousin, according to what my grandmother told me, either that. And so that was it. I remember my great grandmother before she died. I was very young, but I remember her making my uncle promise that he will take care of me, which he hasn't done so far, but y'all, it's okay. But these women made these promises. But I think that's where the woman who gave birth to me got all the pain and the whatever resentment she has towards me. I don't know. But again, it's not my fault, so I'm not going to carry that burden. But yeah, that is the story that I was told. So this man was a coward. He kept quiet while his mother and grandmother berated this woman he had gotten pregnant. While they insulted her, insulted my grandmother and my great grandmother, this man kept quiet. So now imagine me going to look for him and saying that I want him as my dad. Why would I want to do that? Whether it's now that I do not have any money, or if I had money, I wouldn't want him to be a part of my life. Because if he was as empathetic as I am and he needed a kidney or I don't know, a liver or whatever, I'd feel like I would want to give it. But then I would resent him and resent myself for it because I'll be, you have given me nothing. The same way I resented the fact that I had to give the woman who gave birth to me money. I didn't want that because you have given me nothing. Why should I have to give you something? You know? But if the roles were reversed and they had to give me something, a kidney, a liver, I'll be like, yeah, finally give me something. You owe it to me. I know people say the world owes you nothing, but these people made me. I know I come from God, but they made me. They consummated and they made me. They owe me so much. Because me personally, they have given me nothing. And if I started counting, they owe me an entire life. Maybe my life would have been totally different if this man had accepted and they had gotten married, and maybe I would have had siblings that I grew up with and stuff. But everything I've lacked, it's because of what these people did, their mistakes, what the mother and the grandmother did, all those things that they did is why my life ended up being the way it did. And I know I'm responsible for my own life. But then just imagine if they didn't, if they took responsibility, maybe my life would have taken a different turn. But yeah, so when I knew that story, I was like, I just didn't feel like I needed to look for him because he had rejected me. If he hadn't rejected me, maybe I would have. If he would have been like the pregnancy had been hidden, he wouldn't have known Vitukama Izo, or like some women just hide the child and stuff, they run away with them. If that would have happened, I would have gone to look for him. But then that's not what happened. He rejected me and his family did as well. So I have no ties to them. I don't feel like I need to go to them. I feel like I would want to see him, but just out of curiosity. Like, let's be in the same neighborhood and I see him from afar just to see what I have that looks like him. I know I can sing. I know I'm a creative person. I can write and all of these things. And I don't know from whom I got those things from. I don't know if I got them from the lady who gave birth to me or if I got them from him. There's some things that I do, some little things that you do that are not in my grandmother. Like, a lot of my behaviors are from my grandmother. A lot of my character is from my grandmother. And then there's also what I just had for myself because of what I've experienced in life. But then I wonder sometimes, what did I get from her and what did I get from him? I know I look like her and I know my height is from her. Most of my genes are from her. Like, the adding of weight and losing weight, those are genetics, and I get most of them from her. But then there are things that happen to me or things I see on me, and I'm like, did they come from him or from her? Like, what did I get from him? I just want to know that. Maybe see him, observe him for a week, but from afar, because I never want to say hi to him. I never want to be in the same breathable space. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to be so close to him that I'm breathing the same air with him. I want to observe him from afar. Like, he was a chimpanzee in a zoo and I'm looking at him and I'm observing him, just his behavior. I know he's an alcoholic, by the way. So I know I don't have that bag because I'm not. But then I just want to observe him from afar and see what I got from him, just to know for me. And then also, like, for my future, like, if I ever have children, will they do something and I'm looking at myself and I'm like, that didn't come from me. It didn't come from their dad. Well, my grandmother doesn't behave like that, never behaved like that. So where did they get it from? Because he's an alcoholic. Maybe it's a thing that's in my genes. What if I have a child and they become one and I'm not their dad, isn't the dad side of the family, don't have any, but then my child becomes it, God forbid, by the way, and it's from him. Like easy maugonjwa zingine, you go to the hospital and you're asked to tick this on the forms like family history, medical history, and you're like, I know we have hypertension because of my grandma, but then hizi zingine zote, what my paternal side, what is there? So I feel like if ever I would want to know him, it would be out of curiosity, just for such kinds of things, to know the medical history, to know, I don't know, for whatever, like just to know for the future, for my children and stuff like that. But having a father-daughter relationship with him, never. I wouldn't want that, like, at all. I don't want it. The only time I've ever wished I had a dad, I think in my entire life, was, well, when everything was happening to me as a kid. I wished I had both my parents. At that time, I remember there have been, okay, let me not say never, but there have been moments in my life where I've wished I had both parents, not just a dad or just a mom, but both parents, that I grew up in a proper family with a mom and a dad who loved me and, just adored me, and maybe my life would have been different. And I remember the time I was seeing a therapist, she asked me, like, do you think that would have made a difference? Like, what about them raising you do you think would have made your life, maybe different? To what end, or something like that? And I don't remember what I really answered, but I feel like it would have just been different. Because if they raised me, that means that they would love me, and maybe my life would have been. Unajua hata kama unachapwa lakini mzazi wako anakuchapa na bado anakufeed, anakulipia school fees, anakufanyia nini, your life would have been different. I wouldn't have had to listen to all the hatred that I had to listen to while growing up. I didn't have to know that I was alone in this world and I had nobody else. That if people are to be asked to go to their family, everybody will stand with their children and stuff. Even the woman who gave birth to me, she'll be there and she'll have her children, her 4 children and her husband. And then my grandmother will have her and her children. Maybe they'll be standing behind her. And then her children, my aunt will be with her 2 daughters. And my uncle will be with his wife and his children. And my late uncle, God rest his soul, his son will be on the side, but he will be like, I come from so and so. But then I will be left alone on the sidelines looking in, wondering, where am I supposed to go? Because I can't go to where the woman who gave birth to me is, because she has a husband and a children, and she has introduced me before as her sister, so, and I'm not her sister, so where exactly am I supposed to stand? So I wouldn't have had to feel that. I wouldn't have had to ask myself, like, right now, if I died, God forbid, or my grandmother is still alive, she will say that she can be buried here on my land because she bought it. It's hers. But I wouldn't have to question, like, okay, what if she died before I do? Again, God forbid. What if she died before I do, and before I have a land of my own, before I'm married, before I have a family of my own and my own land? What happens then? Will her children also say, like, yeah, she can be buried here? Or will they say, like, yeah, you cannot on our mother's land? Because what happens then? I cannot be buried where the woman who gave birth to me is married. I'm not a child of that land. So I ask myself these questions, and that's when I say, like, I wish I had a dad sometimes, because then I would know where I would lie when I died. Because my fear is being thrown at Langata. I don't want to be thrown in Langata and then everybody moves on, and then after a couple of years they come wanachimbua, wanazika mwingine tena hapo. I remember telling my friend that if that was to happen, I'd rather you cremate me and throw my ashes in Indian Ocean or something. I know it's cliche from the movies I've watched, but I'd rather that happens rather than being buried at Langata. And I have people that I've grown up with and stuff. So when I start thinking about such things, and I'm an overthinker, by the way, my mind can go to really, really dark places. When I start thinking about such things, those are the few moments that I found myself wishing I had a dad. Because then it will be like, yeah, no matter what, she has a place to lie if she were to die today. But now even that is uncertain. My entire life has been uncertain. Toke amalize shule aende kukaa na mamake, ama atakaa na mamake, ama atakaa huku, ama like it has always been questions. And all this uncertainty still lingers even now, because as long as I do not have my own, as long as I'm not married yet, the question still is there. If I die, where will I be laid? And will it be okay with everybody involved amid later issues? So, having a dad in your life is really, really important. But unfortunately, God did not deem it fit for me to be raised by one. I didn't have a father figure growing up. I remember seeing my grandpa at some point, and then he stopped coming around. By the time my uncle came to live with us, as I said before, he did not treat me well, like at all. So I've never like had a strong father figure. The only one I clashed onto was my high school English teacher. He was my class teacher, my English teacher, my dorm captain. Like, he was all of these things, and he's the first person I ever thought to look at as a father figure. And then after that, it just was like, yeah, I don't like men being in positions of power with me. Daddy issues are wild, because I'm like, you are coming to shout at me as who? You're a man, one. Who are you shouting at exactly? Who are you? Like, so the power dynamics, I just don't get them. I see men sometimes as a nuisance. Sorry to say this. And if you're a leader, then behave nicely. If you start yelling, you start shouting, you start demeaning me, I go like on the negative completely. And I see you as nothing. Because I think he saw me as nothing. And so the daddy issues crop up in weird areas, in weird ways in my life. And right now, I'm not married and I'm 35. I'm not dating anyone. I'm not, like, I won't say I'm not interested in dating, because I'm a human being. I feel sometimes like I want to be with somebody, you know? But then after I think about it, I'm like, how will I know if I'm dating my brother or my cousin or my uncle in this Kenya, because I don't know my paternal side? And then one red flag from them, they trigger me with the simplest of things, and I'm thinking of a way out. So I have issues with companionship and settling down. I don't know. Maybe I just tend to avoid relationships altogether, because what I'm looking for in a relationship is a perfect man, which might not happen because there's no perfect man. Every man has a flaw. But the thing is, I've seen all the flaws from my upbringing that I will see them, and the moment I see them, I tend to run away. So I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy how these things happen. And then you find people who have had perfect lives. They were raised by both parents. They live good lives. And then they're the ones who come and tell you, no, you have to move on. Like, you just have to forgive him, imagine, for yourself. And then you move on. Like, he doesn't deserve you, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, I get what you're saying. But there's a part in me that is broken for the rest of my life. Forever and always, I'll always have that part of me that is broken, because the man who made me, the man who sired me, he said, no, I'm not his. And he moved on like nothing ever happened. There's a part of me that will always be hurt by that voice. And I think it has played part in most parts of my life. The moment you start putting me as a second character in your life, and I think I told this to a friend before, I was like, do not treat me like a second character in your life. The moment you do, the moment you show me that you do not care about me, I do not matter enough to you, I'll walk away. And I'll walk away for good, and I'll not even look back. I told that to her a couple of years ago. And I understood where it came from. Because I don't want to be made to feel like that right now. I was a baby when I was rejected by the man who sired me. As an adult, if you start doing that to me, I will smell it from a mile away and I'll walk away. I'll not wait for you to actually voice it like he did and his family did. So I wish I had a dad. Of course, I wish I did. The uncles who have taken care of me, thank you. Uncle Dagi especially, he calls, like if I write something that is fishy on WhatsApp, he will text me, and his wife will also text me and be like, what's up? If I'm having a bad day, they'll be like, nitakutumia fare kuja uone cousin zako utulie kidogo, then you'll go back. Like them just being there for me in such a capacity, I'm very grateful to that. And the others who just don't care, it's okay. You can't force people to love you. That's one thing I've learned in this life. And I'm okay with it, I guess. So, I don't know. Like fathers should be there for their kids. And the women who say that, mimi ndio baba na mimi ndio mama. No, you're not baba. Maybe money-wise. Sema, financially speaking, I'm the mom and I'm the dad. I have to provide for the child as a father would as well. But you're not the dad. You can never replace the part that the dad plays, no matter how much love you give to your child. You will love them. You'll show them all the love in this world. You will have like your dad taking care of them and your brothers taking care of them and being there as the father figure and everything. But there's always going to be a part of this child that is always going to be seeking out that blood, calling that blood, asking, why didn't my blood want me? Why didn't my blood choose me? If they're dead, that's one thing, because we as human beings, I believe we are meant to understand death. Like when you say that my dad died before I was born, it's sad, yes. You lost out on having a dad, yes. But you can understand it wasn't them who chose to leave, but her dad who left. And I think it's even worse when the dad left and went and started another family and their children are happy. They have their mom and dad and he stayed with them. But he never looked back on you. He never came to find you. Such a child is hurt in ways that even I cannot understand. And the mothers will never understand. So when the mothers become upset at, unaanza kutafuta babako, alituacha, alifanya, stop it. It's not about you, it's about the child. And as I said, go to Lingugs. I don't remember what the name of the lady is, but she explains it so well. It was sometime last year, when the lady was on Lingugi. She explained it so well because she was looking for her dad as well. And she reconnected with him and they became okay. But their story was different. So you can go and watch it and maybe that will give you a different, I don't know, understanding to what I'm trying to say. But as for me, that's just something I don't want to do. And yeah, it's just weird when women say that. I find it weird when a woman says, I'm both the mom and the dad. You're not the dad. You're just the mom. And you're playing exactly the part that you're meant to play. So when it comes to financials, that's a different story altogether. And you're allowed to feel however you want to feel about that. But don't tell your child that I'm your mom and I'm also your dad. Don't go around telling people, mimi ndo baba na mimi ndo mama huyu mtoto. Wewe si baba yake, wewe ni mama yake. And the part that you're playing in that child's life is the part that you're meant to play. Period. So financials aside, no. And you can never replace that love that the dad was supposed to feel. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, you can never do it. You can buy anything for your child. You can give them everything. But as I've experienced, you can never fill that void. They will be contented with you. They'll love you. They will support you and be happy with you. But there's always going to be that small part that will forever be broken. Just like there's a small part in me that is forever broken because this man said no to me twice. And there's forever going to be a broken part in me that the woman who gave birth to me just doesn't love me as she should. That's just a part of my story and nothing can ever replace that. So if you're a single mom, show your child love, of course, but understand that you cannot fill that void that their dad left. So when your child comes and asks, can I please know this man who gave birth to, who sired me. Allow them. Let them go and experience it for themselves, because they might go and that man shows them the true colors. Amonyeshe wewe mimi sikuwa nakutaka, as I said. They go like, I don't want you to be a part of my life. I don't want to come in to mess what I've created with this other family. And that child will be like, okay, at least atakuwa amesikia from the horse's mouth. You know? Like, alitaka, amenda, amejionea. Let that man be the one to turn the child down. Let him be the one to show the child his true colors. And you as the mother, be there, be ready, because you know that man. You know why you didn't want him to be a part of your child's life. But unless he was an abuser, like a molester or something like that, if he was like that, just tell your child, this is what that man used to do, and I'm not going to allow you to go close to him. But if he was not that, let the child go. Let them experience this person for themselves. They will come back. Believe you me, there's no way you'll educate your child naende na huyo mtu natoroke kabisa kuache nyuma, unless you're a terrible mother as well. Because kama ulikuwa mama ambayo unadhania ati because you stayed, that child owes you love. Because you are the parent who stayed, but you are a terrible mom. Believe me, you are losing out. And you will never win. Atapatana na huyo baba na the man will tell him, that child, a different story. He will say that you are the one who kicked him out. You are the one who pushed him away because of your behaviors. And the child will have lived with you and he will have known, yes, mom is a terrible woman. She treated me bad as well. So they will leave and they won't look back. So be careful. Okay? So I don't know what else to say. As I say, like, it's Father's Day. I'm just going to wish all the fathers a happy Father's Day. Fathers who are, present, who wanted to be dads, who made families because they wanted to be there. If you're a dad and you have a child somewhere else that you have never seen, please go and look for them. Because you're destroying that child in ways that you can't even start to imagine. Especially if you yourself, you are raised by both parents. You'll never understand the pain that people who have been raised in single parent home that they go through. And don't give advice to people who do not have both parents in their lives. Do not. If you have had both parents, do not try to tell people that move on. You know you're a grown up. You don't need your parents, blah, blah, blah. Do not do that. Because you'll never understand what they're going through. You'll never understand their pain. And it's wrong of you to try and make their pain seem like it's small, like it's nothing. Don't do that to people, okay? Just understand their pain. If they tell you they're not feeling okay, understand it. And just move on with it. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just wishing all fathers a happy Father's Day. To my uncles, I love you guys so much. To my friends, male friends who are dads, happy Father's Day. I love you guys so much. Continue being present dads. Continue being strong and protecting your families. Listen to your children. That's another thing. Dads, can you be closer to your kids? Talk to them. Don't leave the raising to the mom. Yako tu nukuleta pesa kwa familia. That child will sit you down one day and question you. Atakwambia, yeah, you paid the school fees, but you never told me that you loved me. Can you tell your children that you love them? Millennial dads. Kuna an older generation of millennials. Like, watch our 90s, our 80s. 80s parents, can you please tell your children that you love them? 80s millennials, please tell your children that you love them. Because I know your parents never told you they do. But you can choose to do that. Let your children know that you love them. Si kuwanunulia to whatever they want and then you keep quiet. Mothers, do not tell your children that their fathers are terrible just because they were terrible husbands. Do not try to make them look evil unless they truly were and you can actually prove it. Kama ako jela juu alipigana akaua mtu nini, such kinds of things, say it. But if you had a problem with him but he never had a problem with the child, tell your child that as well. Let them not grow up hating their father only to come to find out in the future that you are the problem, because that happens a lot. Okay? So yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. Comment down in the section below. Tell me if you have a dad, if you do not have a dad, and whatever. Just tell me your feelings about not having a dad, how you felt about it growing up, if you later went to look for them and you reconnected, if you didn't, and all of these things. and let us discuss. You can DM me on my Instagram, Mimi's Musings Podcast. Please follow me there as well, by the way. And then comment down in the section below. Comment there as well. And like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications so that whenever I post something new, you'll always be the first one to come and listen. Okay. Bye-bye now. Love you.